So it doesn't matter. And you got to watch your fucking team play. Yo, Josh, what up?
Yo, what's going on, Dan?
Not much. How's traffic?
It sucked ass. Dude, you know what it is? I don't know if it's like you know, if it's more people are driving than were driving before the pandemic, or if people just forgot
That's
how
a
to
huge part of
drive.
it. It's both. I would say both realistically, but I mean, there's definitely more people driving. I just noticed that being out on the road, the last year now compared to 6 months ago, even.
Yeah.
So, how's work?
It's okay.
You watched what'd you just watch recently for the first time? Well, last week we talked about you watched Dune, and
Yeah.
I rewatched Dune over the weekend. I took some edibles
Nice.
beforehand. Uh, Wildly enhanced it, by the way. Like I saw it when I took some medicine anyway, but it hit different. It is a brownie, actually two brownies,
Yep.
and I put it over some mint chocolate chip ice cream.
Oh, nice.
And it was yeah, the guy at the dispensary recommended. He's like, yeah, take these, put them in the microwave for like 15 seconds, put it over some ice cream, and you'll be very happy. And the mistake I made was taking two. And so like we watched Dune, landlord goes to bed, and then it's like 10 o'clock, and I got like nothing else going on. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna watch Rocky Four. And it was the some people were like Rocky Four, like yes, but understand, like first off, it wouldn't be that weird for me to put on Rocky Four in the first place.
Right.
Like it's my favorite Rocky movie, but I did the director's cut, Stallone's director's cut, which just came out, and I really enjoyed it. It was the same movie, the same story, but like almost like it was told from a different narrator, is how I
Yep.
would describe it. Like you're talking, this is the biggest thing that is taken out of this. The Happy Birthday Polly robot is not in this movie at all.
Oh no, that's what I was gonna ask about.
No, that's like one of the biggest things eliminated is the robot. And I would say like a lot of the 80s cheese is just removed from the movie. There's still 80s cheese, but like even the Living in America entrance is told from a completely different angle.
Mhm.
Like it's there, but it's not the same pageantry to it, I guess. They gave Drago some more depth to this, which I guess in the context of Creed 2 makes a lot more sense too. And it's way more about the relationship. It's almost like as much Apollo's story as it is Rocky's in this one.
Mhm.
But I really, really liked it. I also watched that new one with Jessica Chastain and Andrew Garfield, the Eyes of Tammy Faye, about Tammy Faye Baker and Jim Baker, those televangelists that ripped everyone off.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. Chastain, the bare minimum, Chastain is just, she's fucking unbelievable. In everything she's in, she's unbelievable. But Josh, tonight, your team has a big rematch on hand.
Yep.
So what's the final score of tonight's game? Before just don't even say who you think's gonna win, because we got to go over what happened last week. What's the final score of tonight's game? Don't
I
even
don't
say
care.
who's
It
winning.
doesn't matter.
Okay, so last week was a really weird week. It was the first tie of the NFL season, so kind of puts all our records into flux here. But you and I had the same week last week. We went 5-8-1. Manfro went 7-6-1. So he is in first place at 93-56-1. You are in second at 91-58-1, and I'm in third at 88-61-1. I have a lot of ground to make up here. Manfro may pop in, he may not. He has a big issue when we do this during Rangers games, and he asked me why we do this during Rangers games, and I said nobody cares about hockey, Boomer. But more than anything else, I don't know when the Rangers play. I feel like hockey's off season is like 2 days.
Yeah.
It's 2 days and then the season starts. And like I get it, like committing to like watching your team play, even though you're not, they're not going to win. I should know I'm a Mets fan and a Dolphins fan, but it's come on, like how the season's going to end the same way it always ends with another New York team probably being better, but definitely not with the Stanley Cup in the Garden. Probably honestly have a better chance of the Knicks winning a championship. Bing bong! Oh my god, that was annoying from Jump Street. Like
Yep.
they win one game, the first game of the season, and Knicks fans had to know that this
Knicks
was.
fans love to jump the gun and then ultimately fucking shoot themselves in the foot, from Jeremy Lin
Carmelo.
to fucking Bing Bong to fucking Carmelo Anthony, all these things, man.
Yeah, and they're so quick to get back on the bandwagon, and even quicker to jump off. A lot like Jets fans, to be honest. Like, to think about it, we went with Mike White mania a couple weeks ago to where we are now. But why don't we get into it? So Josh, this is first off, this is week 11 of the NFL season.
Yep.
Week 11 of You Watch I Listen NFL picks. Shout out to my boy Ruglabach, Zeke Kazman. They got a couple breaks coming up for football and baseball. You're going to want to check those out. You can find them on my Twitter feed. Definitely a really cool community to be a part of. Pull some fucking heaters lately. So you guys, if you are into the trading card community, if you aren't sure, you can hit me up on Twitter and I will point you in their direction as well. So Thursday night game kicking off in a little under an hour here. Josh, it is the rematch of one of the best nights of your life. One of the best nights of my life. Because there's certain things that will just provide material forever. Like, your team collapses in September. Your team, blows a 3-0 lead in the ALCS to your most heated rival. Someone puts on a lot of weight, someone loses a lot of weight, their dad dies. The Falcons blow a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl to the Patriots. And here we are, all these years later, Mac Jones and the New England Patriots coming off a huge win over the Cleveland Browns, taking on the Atlanta Falcons, who got just demolished. I thought it would be close. They got demolished by the Cowboys. As of this morning, the Patriots were 5.5-point favorites. Josh, it's your team.
Yeah, I am taking the Patriots here. I did not see the final injury report, so it looked like we may be going into this game without Cordero Patterson.
Yeah, he's not playing officially. He's officially inactive.
And with that now officially being the case, Bill Belichick will very easily take Kyle Pitts out of the game, leaving Matt Ryan with absolutely no one to throw the ball to. So, yeah, I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think the Patriots will probably win 21-7, something like that. Low-scoring game, I think.
21-7 is close to a blowout, but it's one of those things where the final score could be closer, that not as close as the game is closer than the final score indicates. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I don't think that the Falcons will lead at any point in this game.
So I was actually this morning, I was debating, like, am I going to take the Falcons here? I got ground to make up because we know that the Thursday night game tends to favor the home team. I know this year, I think the home team is 7-3 in Thursday night games. And I think they're actually like 10-0 against the spread, like something crazy. But no Cordero Patterson, who's been one of the best offensive players in the league this year. Matt Ryan's having a decent year, but the Falcons defense isn't very good. When Matt Ryan can't get going and the running game can't go, and it's the same old story. And now they're facing a Patriots team that is on the come up. Mac Jones playing very well. I'll take the Patriots. I'd stay away just from the spread because of that Thursday night thing, but Manfred's also taking the Patriots. All right, next game, Sunday. The Indianapolis Colts coming off the win over the Jacksonville Jaguars, taking on the Buffalo Bills, coming off a drubbing of the New York Jets. Just when everyone thought, Bills lost to the Jags the week before, haven't looked too hot. The Jets, what's going to happen? Mike White. We saw what happened. The Bills still have the best defense in the league. The Bills are 6.5-point favorites at home. Josh.
I am taking the Bills here. I like them in a home game. I think that, they kind of, made you question them a little bit earlier on in the season. And I think
most of the season, honestly.
I think that now is the time for them to really kind of shore up all the things that they were not doing so well a couple weeks ago on the offensive side of the ball. Josh Allen looks like he's got it figured out.
Now fuck him and the fucking bill he wrote in on. Let him go fuck a bison, you fucking bitch. Never getting close to an MVP again. I said this before. The Bills are good at a lot of things. And one of the things they're best at is losing in big spots. The only win they've had in the last 30 years was Jim Kelly beating cancer. But they will beat the Colts this week. The Colts, I like the way they're coached, and I like the way Carson Wentz has played this year for the most part. It's just the Bills, no matter what, even if Josh Allen isn't going like he did last year, and the running game hasn't really gotten going, and now I'm talking to myself, and the offensive line isn't there. Their defense is still great, and that's the Colts bugaboo. That's Carson Wentz bugaboo. So I'm going to take the Bills. Manfro, in a surprise, is taking the Colts in the upset. It's just me talking now, apparently. All right, I guess. my general thought, I actually did think about taking the Colts here. Just thanks, Josh. It felt really good to be there by myself. What's the problem now?
I don't know.
Driving?
My headphones just tried to like attach themselves to my iPad.
Oh, that's cool. Anyway, yeah, I'm taking the Bills, and I was just saying in the surprise, Manfred was taking the Colts in the upset over the Bills.
Interesting.
All right, next game, the Baltimore Ravens at the Chicago Bears. Man, I was so I was so happy last Thursday because I was convinced the Dolphins were going to get just demolished.
Yeah.
Because it's not even just a matter of them not being very good. It's just like I've said last week that the Ravens always beat the Dolphins. And the Dolphins defense just stymied them. The Dolphins defense was awesome. It was the first game in I think they had the longest streak of at least 14 points scored in the last like 15, 20 years or something, like over Lamar Jackson's career as a starter. And that didn't happen. 22-10 was the final. The Chicago Bears coming off their bye week. The Ravens are 6.5-point favorites. Josh.
Yeah, I'm taking the Ravens here. The Bears won't get good until Matt Nagy's not their coach anymore.
Yeah, and when you look at it, the Steelers game the week before, Justin Fields' best half of football was in that second half, and you could argue they got screwed by the refs. Excuse me. Long week. They did get screwed by the refs. There's some horrific calls, but you're starting to see Fields come alive a little bit. But despite that, I'm also going to take the Baltimore Ravens. I don't see them having back-to-back weeks where they look like they did against Miami. And Chicago's defense, when you look at it, what Miami's defense has been the last 3 weeks isn't as good as the Dolphins' defense. So I'll take the Ravens. Manfred's also taking the Ravens. All right, next game. The Detroit Lions coming off a game which set football back at least 15 years, a tie with the Pittsburgh Steelers, taking on the Cleveland Browns, coming off a drubbing at the hands of the New England Patriots. The Browns are 10.5-point favorites, and that probably has more to do with the Lions than anything to do with the Browns. Some questions about the health of Baker Mayfield with his knee. From what I understand, he's walking around with a very pronounced limp. Josh.
Yeah, the Browns are going to bounce back here. Even if Baker's not healthy and can't go.
Keenum's a good backup.
We're talking about the Lions here. I think that the Steelers are not, the Steelers are not the Steelers that we are used to this year.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, they didn't have Ben. It was Mason Rudolph, who sucks. I mean, how bad is Dwayne Haskins, a former first-round pick, that he can't beat out Mason Rudolph?
That's one of those sad cases. The guy has all the talent in the world. He just can't get out of his own way.
Yeah, he's apparently he was warming up and he had his cell phone on him, which was one of the things he got benched for in the first place. And, this is a weird one because there's a chance that Baker Mayfield doesn't play. And if he does play, he doesn't finish it out. But Jared Goff hasn't practiced this week. So could you imagine if Goff, doesn't play and this guy, I don't even remember his name, if he comes in and he lights it up? That would be a pretty cool story. This game will be closer than I would indicate. 10.5 is a lot to give the Browns right now. But they should, we saw what they did to the Broncos with no Baker Mayfield. So I think it's safe to take the Browns. Just the 10.5 is a lot. Next game, I don't think we have to spend. Manfred's also taking the Browns. I don't think we have to spend much time on this. It's Houston Texans taking on the Tennessee Titans. Titans' best team in football right now, I think it's safe to say, with who they've beaten. Texans are terrible. Coming off their bye, before that loss to the Dolphins, 10.5 points. Are we all taking the Titans?
Yeah.
Divisional games can be weird, as we know, so that's the only thing. All right, next game. The Green Bay Packers taking on the Minnesota Vikings. The Packers coming off their win over the Seattle Seahawks. Not a great game at all. Rodgers didn't look that great against a pretty bad Seahawks defense. The Vikings coming off the win over the Los Angeles Chargers. The Packers are 2.5-point favorites. No Aaron Jones, out with a knee injury. Josh.
Yeah, I'm taking the Packers in the divisional matchup here. This is one of those games that go out there and win. If you're going to be the class of that division, if you're going to be a deep playoff team like I expect them to be, then this is a game you have to win.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, the Vikings are one of those teams that are really tough to get a gauge on because they go out and beat a team like the Chargers. The Chargers aren't that much dissimilar from the Vikings, honestly. They're not as good as some people think they were. I would say the way Herbert started hasn't been as hot the last few weeks. So it's really hard to gauge, but the Packers, as bad as mediocre as they look last week against the Seahawks, I'd expect them to bounce back here. So I think, Devontae Adams going to be fine. Randall Cobb, big game. And AJ Dillon is an awesome backup running back. So give me the Packers here and give me the 2.5 as well. And Manfro obviously going to take the Packers. Then this is my favorite week of the year. It's the Dolphins and the Jets at MetLife. I especially love it because we're playing Joe Flacco. This is what's crazy about this. Okay, so the Dolphins coming off that win over the Ravens, which we just talked about. And over the last 3 weeks, you've seen the Dolphins defense look like they did last year. You know, they lost to the Bills 3 weeks ago, but they played the Bills really tough in the first half. One of those games we just talked about where the game was closer than the final score indicated. And then they had 5 turnovers against the Texans. And then what you saw they did to the Ravens last week, because Brian Flores is calling the fucking defensive plays again. I don't know why he ever stopped. And I said that to you a few weeks ago. Like, why did we go away from what was working the year prior? And now it looks like we're back to that. Some cool drama in it too. You know, Tua coming in looking pretty good, actually taking shots downfield. Ooh, who knew you could actually take shots downfield? Anyway, so Mike White, you know, like I said a few weeks ago, 400 yards. First guy to do it his first starts. It's Cam Newton. Oh, going to the Hall of Fame. They sent his jersey. And, you know, he had a good first 2 drives against the Colts before he got hurt. And then he was just awful against the Bills. And you would think, though, here, like, you know, you see what you got, right? Build up his trade value or something. But you go to Joe Flacco?
Yeah, that's
like Joe. Okay, so Joe Flacco started against the Dolphins last year. Do you want to know what the final score of that game was? As the Jets quarterback, mind you. 24-0 Dolphins. And listen, the Jets are a better team this year, but you're seeing this wavering in the head coach and Robert Saleh. Like now he's picking. Well, Rex Ryan goaded him. I don't know if you've seen any stuff with Rex Ryan this week.
No.
Rex Ryan was kind of talking shit. And he was like, you know, people when he came in, they said he's like me. You know, he gets the guys motivated. He's a defensive guru. And he said, yeah, 4 of the 5 years you were defensive coordinator in San Francisco, you guys finish in last place. You know, you're not me. And he just said Rex went at him because I guess Rex took personally they were compared. And then you got Salah's brother on Twitter defending him and telling Rex to go eat a cheeseburger. Saleh saying he knows where to come find me. You're a coach in New York. You can't be getting Twitter battles and, you know, e-beef with fucking Rex Ryan. That tells me.
Yeah, seriously, Rex is a TV personality these days. You're playing.
This is his job.
What he fucking wants you to do. Mm-hmm. You're going to get him fucking airtime. Rex is going to be all over TV this week talking about this shit.
Yeah, and you're in the meantime, you're creating a QB controversy because, you know, literally 2 weeks ago, we're hearing about how the team in practice is chanting Mike White, Mike White, Mike White, and the players are like, "Oh, we can't believe what he did to us in practice." Yeah, well, maybe the Jets defense right now is on a historically bad pace, and maybe he's not that good. Like you watch that Bengals game, and I said this with you with Manfro last week. He had 403 passing yards and 280 came on yards after the catch, and there's an art to that. But the average depth of his passes in these 3 starts has been 14 yards. That's not necessarily taking risks. And you have to take some risks in this league. And that's been this isn't just me jet bashing. Haven't I said that about the Dolphins all season? They take no risks downfield. So they come in with a really bad defense. And the Dolphins defense now that is playing much better, you know, I still think this will be probably a low scoring game because I don't have any faith in the Dolphins offense, but their defense, I expect to create a few turnovers. Xavier Howard get his 25th pick of the season to go with his number 25 and the Dolphins to cover the 2.5 points in MetLife Stadium as Dolphins NYC takes over MetLife again. So Dolphins and give me the points.
You're going to take the Dolphins as well. I don't see the logic in starting Joe Flacco. I think have a better shot if started, honestly. Like, you know, Joe Flacco was a guy that, you know, he sucks. I mean, listen, like, there's no other way to put it. I mean, like, he hasn't been good for a while.
He was a really good quarterback.
But then he just fell off, and like his fall was steep.
Yo, and the thing that made Flacco good, his best attribute was he had a sick arm. Like his arm was stupid in his prime, and that's gone now. He doesn't have that arm strength anymore. So now, what are teams afraid of? Like, I understand that there's something like if the coach came out and said, like, listen, we're actually just worried about Zach Wilson, you know, he's still recovering, we're worried about Mike White getting hurt against this defense. Instead, he says, well, you know, the Dolphins run some complex schemes. I'm like, it ain't that complex. They run cover 0 blitz. They storm the gaps with safeties. And it's just crazy that you would go with Joe fucking Flacco over someone that maybe you have something in. But
between the Dolphins and you're seeing the same defense pretty much a year. It's not that like not figure it.
I don't understand the logic. And Manfred's also taking the Dolphins. All right, next game. Trevor Siemian and New Orleans Saints taking on the Philadelphia Eagles, who are actually playing very good football right now. The Eagles coming off the upset win over the Denver Broncos, and the Saints coming off the loss, to who the fuck they lose to last week? To Tennessee Titans. The Eagles are 1.5-point favorites on the road. Josh. Or sorry, at home. Home. The Eagles are at home. Excuse me.
All right. To me, I don't know term thing. I don't know if day-to-day thing, but it depends on Kamara. If Kamara is not playing in him, I'm going to give it to the Eagles. I'll probably give the Eagles the edge because Trevor. I'm vocal of how Jameis is good, and Trevor Siemian is no Jameis.
Yeah. Trevor Siemian is no Jameis, but Trevor Siemian is a solid backup. He has been throughout his career, but he's not Jameis. You're absolutely right. And the Eagles are playing well. So wait, who are you taking? You're taking the Eagles?
Eagles, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Saints here because the Eagles, what they've done the last few weeks is what they weren't doing the weeks when I was shitting on them. And I think that this is the kind of game where the Saints defense can keep it close. They don't have as much firepower at quarterback in with Jalen Hurts as Ryan Tannehill. They don't have A.J. Brown, that kind of thing. Saints will bounce back this week. The 1.5-point spread is good. Give me the Saints, and Manfred's also taking the Eagles. All right, next game. The Washington football team taking on the Carolina Panthers. Washington coming off the win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Huge upset against the Carolina Panthers coming off a huge upset over the Arizona Cardinals. The Panthers going back to old friend Cam Newton. Kind of cool. Like it is kind of cool, like in the scheme of things, like to return. And you saw he gets in on 8 snaps, gets 2 touchdowns on Sunday against Tampa Bay. So against Brady, which is pretty cool. And Washington losing Chase Young for the year, but like we said, he hasn't been doing much, but that does hurt. Josh, who are you taking?
I am gonna take. I think I'm gonna take Panthers.
You're gonna take the Panthers?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna take Washington in the upset here. If anyone is going to be able to figure out how to stymie Cam, and especially broken down Cam, it's going to be Ron Rivera. I think they're riding a little high coming off the win over the Tampa Bay Bucks. Maybe a little swagger to them, a little pep in their step. Not confidently. I just need to do something different here because Manfred was also taking the Panthers. But if Cam comes out and throws 4 touchdowns, is anything, and I'm not going to be surprised. He'll be good for a few weeks and then his body will fall apart again. That's the story of Cam Newton. So, all right, I'm taking Washington. Next game, San Francisco 49ers coming off a mauling of the Los Angeles Rams, taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars, coming off a close loss to the Indianapolis Colts. The 49ers are 6.5-point favorites on the road. Are we all taking the 49ers?
Yeah.
I actually thought about taking the Jaguars here because the Jaguars do 2 things well. One of them isn't coaching, and one of them isn't quarterback play right now, but they do stuff the run very well, and they run the ball very well. And the 49ers blueprint is stuff the run and run the ball. So there's an element here where I actually love the Jaguars to cover the 6.5. I might change my pick. I'll let you know. But right now I'm taking the 49ers, as is Manfred. All right, this is an interesting game. The Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. The Bengals are coming off their bye week, but before that they lost to the Cleveland Browns. The Raiders are coming off the first game of the season where the Chiefs look like the Chiefs. And as of this morning, it's probably shifted since then. The Rams were just a 0.5-point favorite, so really it's just a dead even thing. Josh.
Wait.
It's Bengals.
You said Bengals and then you said Rams.
I'm sorry, Raiders. The guy that the receiver that killed the lady and her dog.
Okay, so it's Bengals Raiders.
Yes, excuse me. Yeah, Bengals at Raiders.
I am going to take Bengals.
Bengals. I want to take the Bengals too, but I'm like, we actually have a lot of different picks this week. I'm going to take the Raiders. Fucking God damn it. God fuck you both. I fucking God damn it. I don't want to take the fucking Raiders. The Raiders God fuck shit. Derek Carr, fuck. But the Bengals stink too. Like the Bengals are farce. They're a farce. You saw it already. Like, oh yeah, they had that really big win over the fucking Ravens. Like, oh shit. lose to the Jets, lose to Mike White, lose to the Browns. I understand the Raiders have a lot going on. Whatever. Fine. I don't care. Fuck it. I'm taking the Raiders. Fuck the Bengals.
I'm not confident in the pick, but looking at the Raiders, they look about to fall apart at the seams. All this shit has happened to them. The head coach, the Ruggs thing, the quarterback that they had to release. They lost to the Giants. I mean,
they lost to the Giants. That's not as bad. Okay, yeah. They lost to the Giants. The Bengals lost to the Jets and Mike White.
That's really bad.
Yeah, think about it.
You know what? They don't have
Baker Mayfield with a torn
the
shoulder.
one thing they do have that can just fucking blow up at any moment is that fucking to Jamar Chase connection. I think is going to be one of the premier connections in the league. For years.
He's unbelievable, and so is Burrow. But it's still the Bengals, and it's like the Bengals and Raiders. Like they look at each other. It's like that meme of Spider-Man pointing at each other. That's them. They're the same fucking organization, except the Bengals don't have championships because they're the fucking Bengals.
Oh, speaking of Spider-Man, did you see Sony up? A little aside for a second here.
Wait, say it again.
Sony fucked up.
I saw the punch. The punch where it's. I was like, come on. Of course, it was the Brazilian trailer where people noticed it. Fucking so Brazil. Dumb. Fucking dumb brazos. All right. Next game. The Dallas Cowboys taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. The Cowboys coming off the drubbing of your Falcons. The Chiefs having their first game of the season where Patrick Mahomes looked like his former self, throwing for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. The Chiefs are 2.5-point favorites. Josh.
I'm going to take the
Cowboys.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where I'm going right now. The Cowboys, not confidently because, man, it's crazy. So we're talking 3 weeks ago and things with the Chiefs are going really bad. They're in first place now. So I'm just saying, the Chargers are a farce. I've said, and this is the thing that people don't get. I think Herbert's a really talented quarterback, but some guys they could have less talent, but they have it. They just have that ability that you can't teach. It's not a physical ability. It's this aura. And, say what you will about him as a passer or whatever. Tim Tebow had that a little bit. It's just this thing that works. And I don't know if Justin Herbert has that. I've read enough things now where they say he doesn't like the fame, the persona, whatever. Give me the Cowboys here. I love what they did to the Falcons. I didn't love what they did to the Falcons because it was your team. I just love the way they played. I love how Dak looks, especially they responded well to that loss to the Broncos, which to me was very important. I think it's going to be a close game, but give me the Cowboys in the upset here. And Manfro is going to take the Chiefs. So a little bit different there. Next game, the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Seattle Seahawks. The Cardinals are a 1.5-point favorite on the road, mostly probably because Russell Wilson looked terrible in his first game back. He looked like a guy that had a broken finger and couldn't grip the football. But the Cardinals didn't look great against the Panthers. So we don't know the health of Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins. We don't really know anything about that right now. So Josh, who are you taking?
So this one's tough because of those two facts that you just said right there.
Yeah.
I want to take the Seahawks, but if those guys play, then it doesn't seem like a smart move to take the Seahawks.
I know.
I may change this pick closer to game day once we know the status of Kyler. But right now, I'm taking the Seahawks.
I'm taking the Cardinals no matter what because I just don't think the Seahawks are very good. And I don't know. Listen, they've played tough this year in most of these games. That's one thing with Seahawks teams under Pete Carroll. They rarely get blown out. It's just one of those things where that's the sign of a good coach. And you saw with the Packers last week with realistically, they got shut out. And it sounds crazy to say, they probably wouldn't have gotten shut out if Geno Smith was quarterback. But Russell just couldn't throw the ball the way you expect to him. All right. Monday or Sunday night game. The Pittsburgh Steelers coming off the tie. I fucking hate ties. Ties in football shouldn't be a thing. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Do you remember there was this stretch of football, a few seasons where there wasn't a single tie? There was no ties.
The Eagles and Bengals tied, and Donovan McNabb famously said, "I didn't know you could tie in the NFL."
Yeah, and then I feel since that game, the Bengals have been in 5 ties.
Yeah,
you shouldn't be able to tie in the NFL. Just shouldn't be that way. I don't care if after the first overtime you go to you start college overtime rules, which I think are great. I think that's the way it should be. make it a fucking 2-man sack race. And I don't care. Just it can't be a fucking tie in the NFL. So the Chargers are 3.5-point favorites. We don't know if Ben Roethlisberger is playing. We now don't know about TJ Watt playing. There's some major questions around Minka Fitzpatrick is on the COVID list as well. On the Charger side of the ball, Nick Bosa is in the COVID protocol as well. Joey Bosa rather. So we don't know the status of them. The Chargers are 3.5-point favorites at home. Josh.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Chargers here. They're at least a little bit more talented than the Lions are, and if Ben's not playing, and I don't really expect him to play, based on just the speculation. From what is he in the COVID protocol too? On top of being injured,
he had COVID.
Okay.
He reported his symptoms. He tested positive. One of these breakthrough cases, as I love saying. And I don't know. He was apparently pretty beat up and not feeling great. He's a senior citizen. That's who it affects the most.
Right. Yeah. So with that in mind, I'm gonna take the Chargers here.
Yeah, I'm also going to take the Chargers, not confidently, and that could change because, like I was just saying before, like there's just something like I think Herbert's going to have a lot of these games where you're like, holy shit, like he makes some throws that just dazzle you, and I just think there's something I can't put my finger on it. There's something missing to his complete game or to complete his game that's not there yet, and I don't know what that is. But there's whether it's a swagger, whether it's just this coolness under pressure, or this maybe it's too cool under pressure where you kind of need to amp it up. I don't know, but I watch him and I see the throws, but then there's just something in those crunch time moments where if you're one of the, I know he's a second-year quarterback. It's impossible to judge him right now on that, but I've seen too many of these games in his first 2 years where I've seen lesser quarterbacks in their first 2 years win those kind of games. So I don't know. But I think they'll beat the Steelers. The Steelers are just like they always are under Tomlin, competitive, tough, but I don't think they'll beat the Chargers. All right, Monday night game. Will Tom Brady finally beat the Giants in primetime? It's the New York Giants taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs are 11.5-point favorites. Giants coming off their bye week. Tampa Bay coming off the loss to the Washington football team. We're all taking the Bucs. Yeah. We're all taking the Bucs. Oh, Manfro's taking the Steelers, by the way. Yeah, we're all taking the Bucs. Giants are weird though, man. Their defense ain't bad. Like their defense has played solid over the last few weeks.
Yeah, they were really good last year. They figured it out over the course of the first 5-6 games this year. Got a little bit better.
The thing that's weird with the Bucs is their defense isn't nearly as good as last year right now. The offense, no Gronk, no what's his name? Goodwin. He's out. And now Antonio Brown's out, and now apparently he's being investigated for giving a phony vaccination card, which I don't know what they're gonna do with that. Like they're gonna be like, oh, you like you don't do that. Like it's just they're gonna have to say you have to wear a mask now and they'll get fined. Like we know what the deal is. Who cares? He's not healthy. That's what I'm looking at. And apparently, like you're hearing more and more grumblings, and if you watch it, you can see it that Tom Brady does not love Mike Evans. He doesn't trust him.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird because he's the kind of guy that quarterbacks should love because it's like, oh, just throw it up there. Like even when he's covered, he's open because of his size. But it should be enough to beat the Giants. It's just the Giants just don't have the offense. I know they're getting Saquon back, but I'm not a Saquon guy. Sorry. He'll probably be a Dolphin next year just because I said that. And now I'm gonna be like, oh, it was fucking great. And I'm pretty fair about how I feel when guys come over to the Dolphins usually. Like, fuck this guy. Like I was so adamantly against this asshole Will Fuller getting signed because I'm like, he's always hurt. And the fucking guy has a fucking broken finger and hasn't played in like 5 weeks. Fucking Tua comes in with a broken finger, just throwing it 40 yards downfield. Russell Wilson's playing with fucking 4 fingers on his fucking hand. And Will Fuller can't catch a fucking ball. He's fucking just stealing $10 million a year. This fucking Joe Jerkoff tests positive for steroids last year. Fucking leaves the Texans, and now he's like, but fucking Tua who doesn't have much of an arm anyway, can come in there and throw the ball with a broken fucking middle finger, and you can't catch a pass. Everyone catches passes one-handed now. Will Fuller fucking can't catch one pass? Fuck you. Fucking stinks. He sucks. He stinks. I hate him. All right, Josh. We'll sign off on that note. I'm about to make a phone call with another Dolphins fan friend of ours. Mr. Eric Schlem.
Oh, they were
Because
going to tell me it was Jerry.
no, I said friend, not douchebag. And not fat. And
Speaking of douchebag, do you want to play Warzone?
I do. I need to talk to Schlem because I need to finalize Vegas.
All right, and tell me about that. I hope it's not too close to my Vegas trip in January.
March is what March 20. I'm angling for March 26th, which is
like 2 months. Vegas, 2 months later, Vegas. All right.
It would be. I'm trying to angle for a Thursday. Like we get there on a Thursday or late Wednesday, and then come back on like a Sunday, if not early Monday. That's what I'm angling for. So I'm going to finalize that. Good luck to your Falcons tonight. And yeah, I'll be down to play Warzone in a little bit. I'm going to put the game on the monitor and we'll go there. Cool.
All right, cool.
Peace, guys. We'll see you next week. Shout out Ruglebox, Zcasman, Collect 77. Go check them out. We'll see you guys next week. Later.